Okay, we're good. Okay, so U.S. commemorative coins, commemoratives date back to ancient times. The Greeks and the Romans used to use them. We heard Richard talk about that. A new ruler would come in and put his face on the coin, or his wife, or his whatever, to show that he was over. So they go back a long time. They record and honor important events. The U.S. Mint was created by Congress in 1792, became part of the Treasury in 1873, and it is the only manufacturer of legal tender coinage for trade and commerce. The coins celebrate and honor American people, places, events, and or institutions. The classic commemoratives are pre-1982. Most of the coins, when they were developed, the classic commemoratives were developed by a commission that was in charge of an event. It could be an anniversary event, it could be whatever the event was. Part of the money would be sold to pay for whatever the statute or the event or whatever was going on. And they were actually sold by a commission in charge of it. So the Mint did not sell the classic commemoratives. It would be a committee that came together. And usually, like a 50-cent piece would sell for $1 or $2. So most of these classic commemoratives, because you pay above face value for them, they are not real worn, unless they are, because they were never used for commerce. Because you paid $1 for a coin for a 50-cent piece or a quarter, you weren't going to go ahead and put it in exchange for 50 cents. The surplus went into the celebrated event, whatever the particular event was. There were a very, very limited number of proof strikes, and they are very rare and expensive. The low mintage quantities have made these coins very popular with collectors. This is kind of the connoisseur of collectors will go, a lot of them will just go after commemorative sets, classic commemoratives. Sorry. The type set of silver commemoratives, 1892 to 1954, has 48 basic designs. If you include the Isabella quarter, which is the only quarter commemorative, and you include the Lafayette dollar, that brings a total of 50 coins. So you could, in a sense, collect 50 coins and you would have a type of every single silver commemorative, not including the gold. If you wanted every single mint year with every single mint that was done, that would be 144 coins. I don't think many people try to get all 144, but that's the number that you made. For the gold commemoratives, starting from the 1903 Louisiana Purchase to the 1926 Sesquicentennial, quarter eagles. They've issued 9 varieties of gold $1 coin, 2 quarter eagles in 15 and 1926, and then 2 $50 coins for the Panama Pacific International Exposition. That was the opening of the Panama Canal. If you happen to have gotten one of those $50 that came in a round, most of them are in a round, or the octagonal coin. Anybody have any of those or a couple of those here?
Front pocket change.
In an MS-60 today, $70,000.
Wow.
Yes, and it goes up from there. $75,000 for the round, $70,000 for that tiger. So I didn't see any at our show this week. That just shows you that there can be quite an escalation in these coins. I'm sorry, going the wrong way. So the 1892 for the World's Columbian Exposition and the 1893 they came out with the Columbian. You've probably seen this. This was the first United States commemorative coin. The obverse, you've got the bust of Columbus and the flagship Santa with two hemispheres on the back. I'm not going to go through all the coins, but that is the first coin. Lafayette dollar is a very interesting coin. It has the first commemorative coin with a president on it, with the United States president, and that was George Washington. It is also the only commemorative coin, or the only coin that I know of, that has the same person on the obverse and the reverse. So you've got Washington and Lafayette on the obverse. This coin was to raise money for a statue in Paris of Lafayette. That's Lafayette on the reverse. So the only coin, you've got the same person on both sides. These sold for $2 each.
I wish.
$2 each. So you had to pay double your money to get a Lafayette dollar. In uncirculated condition now, if you could find an MS-60 at $900, buy it. So $900 to $1,000 basically for starting at MS-60s. This is the Panama Pacific Hill in San Francisco. Again, celebrating, and that's where the 2.5 and the $50 gold coin were. This was the first commemorative coin with "In God We Trust" put on, which is above the eagle. It's kind of hard to see, but it's up there right above the head of the eagle. It sold for $1 at the exposition, and this is a $50 coin. And they had a hard time selling them. Well, actually, this exposition was only open about 10 months, had 19 million visitors. This is an example of a Illinois Centennial, the 100th anniversary slice. So it could be anniversaries, it could be for statues, it could be for a number of things. To celebrate, this is the anniversary of a state coming into the unit. You've got Lincoln on one side, the reverse has got the state seal. This is the very first time that all coins were sold. So up until 1918, they were returning coins to the mint that weren't sold. So those Lafayette dollars and all those others, prior to 1918. So it wasn't always a successful program to have commemoratives. This is a pilgrim coin at the tercentenary. Anybody know how many years a tercentenary is? 300. So commemorate 1620 through 1920, and then it actually goes 1920, 21, so it's tercentenary plus 1 year if you go to plus 21. The mintage here in 1920, 152,000, 1921, only 20,000. So basically we're dealing with a lot of low mintage coins, especially if you compare to the mintage of today. Stone Mountain, you've got your Generals Lee and Jackson on horseback. The funds from this coin were devoted to get Stone Mountain carved, the figures carved in Stone Mountain, Georgia. So it started selling in 1925. That mountain wasn't completed until 1970. And they sold, they distributed 1,300,000 and some coins. So that's a very high number for a classic commemorative. This is all of them. I'm just showing them to you. You've got centennials for other states, a lot of states. You've got Grant Memorial, McKinley, etc. More of these centennial, and then there was kind of a moratorium after 1926. Herbert Hoover said that too many of these coins are coming back to the mint. They're not getting sold. So they're minting a lot of coins. They're coming back. The mint's melting them. And he put a moratorium. He said, this is a waste of money. We're wasting the U.S. Treasury money. So he stopped. They started again. Roosevelt got into office and he says, I think they're a good idea. So they restarted in 1934, and there was an onslaught, 1934 to 36, of different, you got Daniel Boone in Texas and Connecticut. Arkansas celebrated its centennial. I don't know how you do this over 4 years, a centennial over 4 years, but they just there's a lot of politics that's involved with it. Again, they tend to be low mintage. You've got California, the old Spanish Trail has a $50. All of these, by the way, all these $50 and dollars, these are all silver. There's nothing clad at this time. Everything is silver. The Cleveland Centennial Great Lakes, and when I say it's politically involved, like the Cincinnati Music Center Hall, that makes no sense at all because there is no music hall. There's nothing that they did for a centennial. If you go back, 100 years in Cincinnati, there's nothing musically related at all. It's somehow it got through Congress, and it got made into a $50. But it's kind of bogus. What happens though, you have low mintage. So numismatically, we like those coins. Look at all in 1936. Like I said, the country went crazy over these commemoratives. Everybody wanted to have a commemorative. You wanted to have a commemorative for everything. The San Francisco Oakland Bay Bridge, the Illinois Centennials, a Cecily Centennial in Virginia, over towns, over cities. It was, it just got to be kind of a little bit out of hand, really. But they got made it through Congress. It has to be approved by Congress. It gets made by the men. And then the last ones were Booker T. Washington, made from 46 to 51, and somehow Booker T. got added to a George Washington Carver coin as well, which was minted from 51 to 54. That's the end of the classic commemoratives. Then we have a hiatus. There's no coins, no commemoratives made until 1982. So from 54 to 82, no coins. 82, we start making coins again for the Olympics in Los Angeles. You've got the discus thrower here, and on the obverse, the reverse is the American Eagle. And the uncirculated, was made at 3 different mints. So Philadelphia, San Francisco, and Denver all got involved. Your proofs were made in San Francisco. Typically, you're going to see the proofs are about 4 times as many as your unks in the modern commemoratives. And we'll see that on a few more too. So this is the Olympic dollar. Some people thought this was a really ugly dollar. And the reason being is that they put 3 statues on this that are all headless. They thought that was kind of not necessarily in good form to put, decapitated statues up there for your.
It represents Congress.
Exactly. It represents our current Congress. They were very forward-thinking. So you got the Memorial Coliseum on the obverse, and uncirculated. If you add that up, you've got 200, 100, 100. So you got 450,000. You've got almost 2 million on your proof. The mint pushes the proofs. Here's your first gold coin issued in more than 50 years. And it was the first coin to ever have the W mint mark for West Point. We got a couple runners carrying the Olympic torch. On the reverse, you've got the Great Seal. Proof here is made again in all 4 mints. You got Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, and West Point. With West Point getting the lion's share of the proofs, and all of the uncirculated were also made at the West Point Mint. Then you've got a Statue of Liberty. The unks you've got just less than 1 million, but look how many proofs you've got. You've got almost 7 million on those. And this was a clad. So of the modern proofs, the only 50-cent piece that was silver was the one with Washington on horseback. All these 50-cent pieces are all clad in modern commemoratives. All of your dollar coins are all silver. And there's a gold $5 introduced here too. West Point again, West Point does a lot of the $5, a lot of the proofs. Constitutional bicentennial. Again, look at the number of umps, a low number, less than 500,000. Look at the number of proofs, almost 3 million. The gold coin, again, 200,000 proofs, you've got 650,000. The proofs may actually sell for a few more dollars than you do your uncirculated. I think as a collector, as a numismatist, your unks, because their numbers are so much lower, can be a very desirable coin versus your proofs. But everybody likes a shiny coin that looks like a mirror. The Constitutional Bicentennial, $5 gold obverse holding the quill pin. 9 stars to the left of the pin represent the first colonies to ratify the Constitution. You've got 4 more on the right of the quill to represent the first 13 states. Then we came up with in 1988 with another Olympic coin. Remember the first ones were for the ones in Los Angeles, so the modern commemoratives. You've then got the Seoul Olympics. Again, look at your number of unks. Under 200,000. Look at your number of proofs. 1,400,000. And you're going to pay $4 or $5 more for your proofs. But as collectors, it's the quality of the coin and it's the number that are minted. I'm just amazed that the numbers have that big discrepancy, because there's not always a lot of difference in the price between the unks and the proofs.
Right.
Certain years there is a discrepancy, but okay, so we've got a gold coin, beautiful goddess of victory wearing the olive leaf crown. Nike is her name. And on the reverse, the Olympic rings and flame. Again, look at your circulation, your unks. Both of them are done at West Point. We got 62,000, under 63,000. That's low mintage. That's a low number. Versus 281,000 on your proofs. For me, if I was buying gold coins, I'd go for the unks. But not everybody does. Everybody likes, again, shiny coins. Congress bicentennial. Let's look again at your unks. 162 versus almost 760,000. 135,000 versus 762. Your unks, even in gold, 46 and 47,000 versus 165,000. I just say, think of that when you're purchasing or you're trying to decide, where do I want to spend my money? If you want to spend your money. But this is, as I say, kind of, these coins have not gone up as much in value as the classic commemoratives. But, they're also a lot newer. And nearly all of these are going to be graded in a mint state, about 66, 67 to 70. A few of them in 70. Same thing's true in proof, about a 67 to 70. So you've got on the reverse of what this staff is the mace, the staff that is used in the House of Representatives with the eagle astride. That's what I guess Sergeant of Arms or whoever in the House. And then you've got for the Senate, you've got the Statue of Freedom, which is above the Capitol dome.
So you got the Senate and the House both represented. This is there is the mace and the Senate. Here's just another example of an Eisenhower with him as president over his 5-star as a general, and then his home at Gettysburg. But I just, again, look at the 200, less than a quarter million, and you've got over 1 million in proofs. Mount Rushmore, anytime you put a buffalo on a coin, they become very popular. The unks are clad. I mean, the halves are clad. Again, look at your numbers. Less than 200,000, almost 800, 750,000. That's where I said kind of a 4-to-1 ratio. Same thing is true with your dollars are uncirculated, 133 to 753, and your gold, again, almost exactly a 4-to-1 ratio there. Mount Rushmore's golden anniversary. You've got the 4 presidents and the Great Seal. You've got a gold coin that came out as well. And the money from these coin sales. So all of these now are not, all the modern commemoratives, the big deal is the mint now handles the sale of these. They don't leave it to a commission out in Illinois or Arkansas or wherever. So they decide if they make a profit on the coin, they'll give a certain percentage then to whatever the cause is. Korean War. Oh, this was kind of weird because this is the 38th anniversary. I know it's done for the 38th parallel, but people thought that is the weirdest number to come up with, a 38th anniversary. But as I said, some of these just got through Congress pushed by certain groups. USO, but even this, again, look at the number of unks, 125,000 versus 320 some proofs. You're paying more for the proofs, and there's a lot more of them being made. Then we go to the Olympics again. Your half dollars, all those halves of all moderns are clad. As is, typically here. Look at your numbers again, 161,000 versus 519. You've got an Olympic gymnast with the inscription here in Latin, Citius Chius Fortius, which means faster, higher, stronger. With the olive branch crossing the Olympic torch. Baseball, they came up with a whole bunch. They got baseball, they got soccer, they got swimming, they got all kinds of Olympic points came out. Track in '92. There's a White House coin. This is almost more of a 3-to-1 ratio, but still, you've got a lot more in condition than you do, and the unks are cheaper. They have the exact same amount of silver in them. Christopher Columbus on a quincentenniary. There's your 400 years. 500 years, I'm sorry, I take that back. 500 years. There is again, now this is, I think this is a cool looking coin. Because on the reverse, you've got a split image of the Santa Maria going back for 500 years with the space shuttle Discovery. I think that's a cool looking. And then on Columbus you've got here with a modern globe. It's kind of hard to tell here, but that's actually a modern day globe. So they've split the obverse and the reverse. Crest of the Admiral of the Sea of the Old World dated 1492, and Columbus facing a map of the New World. Obviously, it didn't look quite so. He didn't know what it looked like when he was setting sail. Bill of Rights. I just point out again, number of unks, 193,000, proofs, 586. On the side of this particular coin, they got together with the ANA, American Numismatic Association, and they marked the edge with initials of the Madison Foundation. So this is a little different. It's generally a reeded edge, but it's got a smooth edge where they put the serial number of the coin. The Bill of Rights coin you may have seen, the gold coin, the V for victory on the 50th anniversary of World War II. You've got a Pacific battle scene on the reverse. Again, your halves are all clad, and this is another one for World War II. This is a $5 gold coin for World War II. Unks, 23,000, proofs, 67,000. And this is kind of neat that this is, if anybody knows their Morse code, the dot is Morse code for V for victory. I knew you all knew that. What? The dot.
For V dot.
V, victory, V, the letter V. I'm not going to go through these, but you'll just see, okay, so one thing that comes out, I told you the Mint controls these, they market all of these, so sometimes they do a pre-issue price. So here's the World War II gold coin, the pre-issue price when it came out in '93, 170 regular. After a certain time, they cut it off, it goes up to 200 bucks. This is your final minute, 23,000, not very many. Again, that is a gold coin. But so if you order it early, you're saving yourself 30 bucks off the bat, and you don't worry about it being a counterfeit. You're going to get the original government packaging, the certificate, and of authenticity, and all that. Here's another example of the pre-issue price, $185. If you wait until if you wait a couple months, it's going to jump up to $220. This is an example of just packaging. This is I think the 2-coin set is probably a $50, which is going to be clad with your silver dollar. And then you've got your silver dollar, your clad half, and a gold $5 piece. They also did a pre-issue discount on these. So sometimes they do them, sometimes they don't. All of these silver dollar coins, this is their weight. They've got almost 3/4 of an ounce, 0.7736 ounces of silver. They have the same diameter. They'll come up and they'll be 90% silver. That's true with all of them, all of the modern commemoratives. Again, the pre-issue price on a unk silver dollar was $23. The mint's going to sell for $28. But look at how low the mintage is, 107,000. That's low mintage for a coin coming out of the mint. I mean, where they usually, they're minting things in the millions or billions. 1994, this is the ones that came out. They did have with the soccer cup, they put in a clad half, silver dollar, and the gold 5. This is with the 95 Olympics, a bunch of everything. As I say, baseball, basketball, gymnastics, Paralympics. The Civil War coins, they appeal to people that, also the Civil War buffs. So sometimes you have not just coin collectors, but you got Civil War people out there. You got Special Olympics, 96. I'm not going to go, I'm just showing you how many of these. Again, a bunch of different, everything from the flag bearer to soccer, swimming, tennis, etc. 97, 98, had 2 of them. Only 2 come out. 99, we've got 3. You start with the national parks now, where they start pushing the National Park Series, which again went to the 5-ounce silvers on the America's Beautiful Series. We got 2000, only 2 came out, as well as a $10 coin, and platinum, gold and platinum. The Buffalo finally decreased a bit to make it a little more reasonable. You've got them for Braille, you've got Boy Scouts, AMVETS, Medal of Honor, Army, Star Spangled Banner, Infantry. And they're meant to become more creative with these coins, with these modern commemoratives, as exampled by the baseball coin coming out in 2014. We have the first curved coin to be like a ball mitt. You got the clad half, the silver dollar, and the gold 5. Those are done nicely in terms of moving up. U.S. Marshal, Mark of Dimes. We go back to Mark Twain. And then we are here, 17's got Boys Town Lions Club, only 2 come out. In 2018, we've had the World War I's already been issued. And now, again, with the mint getting created, we have the first gold coin with a pink hue. And the pink hue is for breast cancer awareness, with part of the money going to American Cancer Society. And that's it. Finally.
Can you predict
Can I predict?
what the next commemorative coin will be?
Oh, yeah. I haven't gone into the future, but yeah, because when things go before Congress, they work on it for a year or 2. So I'm not prepared to go into that. Any other questions? And I know everybody was great.
So this is very interesting. I collect modern commemoratives, and I'm struck by the price on the Jackie Robinson Unk coin. Can you comment on what happened with that? Why do we have that one coin that's so low vintage?
I don't have a comment on that. If you want to find out more about commemorative coins, this is the Bible. And it's written by Bauer. You heard of Bauer's Stats Auction. Bauer's name is also on our red book, okay? David Bauer. This is, and it will tell you all you want to know about commemorative. This is the second edition. Feel free to look at it. I've also got 9 commemorative coins I just bought. If you want to come up and take a look at it, feel free to. I wasn't going to give them one next.
Dealing with Jackie Robinson,